Metal-heads.de.
So guys, I want to say welcome to Metal-heads TV and to our interview. I thank you very much for your time. And today we're gonna talk about your new record, Opus and some other things about your band. And your band is now existing for 6 years now, and you toured a couple of times here in Germany. But please, for those who don't know you and your band, can you give us a brief introduction about the Sumo Cyco career?
Yeah, so my name is Sky, aka Severn. I'm the lead vocalist. And this guy here, Matt.
I'm MD13, the guitar player, and the the brains in the music department.
Oh, he's the brains, is he?
In the music department.
What, if you're the brains, what am I?
You're the brawn.
So yeah, we're a four-piece band from Canada, outside of Toronto, Hamilton area. And yeah, it's our crazy rock music. We get influenced by all sorts of styles, so I find it sometimes hard to put our music into a specific genre.
We love punk and metal and dancehall grooves, so we stick them all together and voila.
Yeah, I describe it more as imagine a cheerleader's killing you. That's what we sound like.
That's interesting because I listen to all your records and I always ask myself, so what kind of music is Sumo Cyco doing? Is it more metal or is it more rock? I don't know, because we had so many influences, and that makes, in my opinion, the band and the sound also so special. And,
thanks, Ben.
I saw you, I think now, with that PE it was the third time. The first tour was with Fozzy.
Cool.
The second time with Butcher Babies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a really fun tour.
And yeah, 3 weeks ago with Head PE. And so my question
was Essen. What was that club? Which club was it?
The Turok Club.
Turok, yeah.
The one with that devil head
yeah,
there?
The big
Yeah,
devil
that
head,
was a great show. What a fun show.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
That.
Yeah.
I think it was also the best which I saw from Sumo Cyco so far.
Cool.
And I think,
That's great.
and I think you're getting bigger and bigger here. And I remember I was standing at the front and there were all these kids and people wearing Sumo Cyco shirts, and I was, okay, you're getting bigger, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it was really, it wasn't just Essen. Everywhere we kind of went, we noticed a lot more t-shirts and a lot more kids singing our songs, and a lot more people coming up to us after and meeting with us that have seen us before through the Butcher Babies or through Fozzy.
Yeah.
Or the Alien Ant Farm tour. That it's been actually really awesome seeing people watching us grow. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
That was a good answer, Sky.
No, I thought you covered it.
It's just like,
you covered it.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it is great. No, we see, the thing that blew my mind this tour is because Matt always says he can remember everybody's names.
Yeah.
And that's pretty easy when you only have a few, fans in each country. But then as it keeps growing, I noticed him forgetting more and more of the names of people. He's like, I know your face, but I forget your name.
Yeah. I remember things, though, still.
You
for
do
instance,
a good job.
If I remember correctly, you wear glasses.
What? Glasses?
Do you wear glasses?
No, I don't wear glasses.
I thought for sure when I was at the show, I was like, I remember talking to you. Did I not talk to you at the guardrail? We talked? And you were like, oh, my video camera is not working.
Yeah. That was me, but I don't wear glasses.
Damn it. Oh.
I was like, I'm going to look like the man right now. I'm going to say he wears glasses sometimes, and then you're like, you didn't. So
well, I was going to say, the sign that we're growing bigger is that it's harder to remember every single person now that we meet. Because we used to try to remember every single person, and then the more, fans and the more success, it's harder because there's more people, and so. But we try. We always try to remember.
So now I look bad. I should have just. I should never remember anybody's name, so I don't remember. Now I look terrible when I can't.
No, it's fine.
I'm just playing.
It's a good effort.
Sorry, I'm just talking away.
Yeah. That's interesting because you are known as an independent DIY band. And what was for you the reason to run the band this way and not to sign the contract with the label? So did you made some bad experience in the past?
Oh, that's an understatement.
That's a big question, loaded.
Yeah.
Or should we say we have a big loaded answer?
Yes. Well, I mean, in my past, I've had experience with major label, and not to say that it was bad, but there's certain things that you definitely give up, and there's certain compromises that you have to make, and I just felt the whole reason I started Sumo Cyco was so that I could do the music I loved without compromising. And being independent, you have 100% control. You get to decide what your music, what your CDs sound like, what everything looks like.
2017, like in this day and age, you can run your own label. Like, we're doing just what labels would do, like, you know, through social media to getting distribution to touring. Like, besides from, you know, us spending thousands and thousands of extra dollars marketing the way a real label would, but then put us in debt, we've just done it a little more organically. So it's like, it's not that we don't think labels are good, it's just that there's like a forward thinking that they're not a part of sometimes, like especially older, bigger labels, they don't seem to have that forward thinking that we can do this by ourselves. And I think, like, unless we were you know, offered a right deal, which meant that we really had a lot of control and it made sense for us to move on with a label, like, we're actually seeing a lot of success slowly but surely by ourselves. So I mean, if we can keep doing it the way we're doing it, I mean, why wouldn't we want to just run it our own way so we don't have somebody to answer to, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of work, you know, because we have to do our own marketing, our own videos. We do a lot of things to cut corners. You know, we don't have like a tour manager. Matt just drives us around when we're on tour.
But we've already talked about it. That last tour told me that we might be at that point where we might hire one more person now to start coming on tour with us to help us a little extra, because depending on if we're doing a headline tour, for instance, especially in the UK, we found that we were drawing really well there. Like, that might be, we finally got to that stage where I might get one more person to come with us. Like, so it's just a growing thing. Like, eventually we'll hire somebody to run our store where they'll be the ones packing up our shirts and stuff, but right now Sky still does it.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay. Like, at least we're running it ourselves, and people are supporting and buying the stuff. Like, I'd rather complain that I don't have somebody to help sell all the stuff than complain that I'm not selling the stuff.
Yeah.
I think when you started the band and also the DIY style, you did also some mistakes in the past. So for newcomer bands which are starting to grow and want to also to go into a DIY direction, what kind of advice would you tell them what they should do, or things which they should do?
Yeah, I think that the one thing that a lot of bands, they just focus so much on just like the music and sometimes forget that being in a successful band, there's a business side as well. So that comes with thinking about, you know, the marketing side, like what separates you from another band, what makes you different. You know, one of the things that we pride ourselves in sometimes that I was laughing about this tour is that we care so much about putting on a great show all the time, and it's not just about standing there and just playing songs. We want to put on a performance, and some bands get that, and then you'll watch a band sometimes that, yeah, sure, they sound great, but they're not interesting to watch because they don't put on a performance. And we're very making sure that we leave the crowd, you know, always wanting more, wanting to see us again. We you know, do our own music videos, put out our kind of crazy visuals for us, so that we hope that people, every time we drop a music video, people are really interested in watching it. It doesn't seem like the same thing that every other band's doing.
Bands just need to think forward as well. Like, don't try to rely on wait on somebody to help them or do it for them. That's just like the worst.
Yeah, you have
mistake.
to learn how to do it for yourself.
When I was in bands earlier, you know, most bands, their whole thought right away is that they put together some really cool songs, and they're like, oh, we've got the best songs, and like, because you're in the band, you're biased, you're always thinking we've got the best songs, and all you're thinking is, hopefully a label will sign us. That's all usually bands think. Oh, can we get signed to a label, and then we'll get some funding. That's like the worst way to think. Like, you should be more like thinking like, how big can we get without a label, so that if we really, really do want to get signed, that label wants us so bad because we're already doing so well by ourselves. That's how to think in this business world, is don't try to think about getting on a label. Just go for it and be the label. And eventually a label will come along because you're doing so well that they're going to want to in on your business.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the real way to try to attack your business.
Yeah,
and just think that way.
And the one thing too that I've realized, especially in our genre, is that it's definitely you make a fan one fan at a time. So never think that you're too good to like hang out with the fans after the shows, or send messages back on social media, like all those little things that sometimes bands are like, oh yeah, I'm too big for that or too rock star for that. Like those little things make a fan for life. So you always, to me that's really important, is to always feel like we're not, some rock star band that you could reach out and we'll actually answer back and meet us at the shows and things.
Our pledge campaign and our last UK tour, especially, same with the European side, like all of it, I felt was, 80% of the people that supported us through that tour, which was a lot. We sold lots of tickets, but they were all fans that had been there before because we'd met them and spent time with them. Like, instead of just being, these lazy butts and just sit inside your dressing room and let somebody else sell the merch for us. We want to meet kids, and we want to see who's supporting, and we want to try to remember them for supporting us, because it's thanks to them that we're even there. So, I think that's a smart thing for bands to always think. It's,
Yeah. That's an interesting point about the pledge campaign, because I don't know if Sumo Cyco is a full-time band or not, but how long did you work on the new record, which means finding ideas, get time for the pre-production, recording time, and also to run the pledge campaign?
Yeah, well, the cool thing about our band is that we have our own home studio. So Matt is pretty much does all the production, and he can, in between, touring and whatever else we do, he basically has the run of the studio. So whenever he's inspired, he'll come up with really cool bass tracks, do instrumentals, and just kind of program it all into his computer. And he's super talented like that because he just can play every instrument. And then he'll hand me the instrumental version, and then I'll come up with all the lyrics and melodies. So honestly, in between, our touring schedule of the last year, we kind of put together the record, and we don't do demos. Like a lot of bands will have a demo recording, and then they'll re-record everything for the final version for the album. But we take pretty much the bare bones of what we did for a demo, and then we just kind of remix, re-record some parts if we feel like they're not up to snuff, but we don't kind of start from scratch the way some bands do. We literally take the same tracks and just it kind of evolves into the final tracks. But what's cool this time is we worked with an outside producer named James LaRock Lowry, and he was over in UK. So we sent him all the tracks we recorded here, and then he was able to kind of program and mix and take things to another level that was kind of a cool surprise for us, because usually Matt and I are pretty much there through every step of the process. So it was kind of cool to hand it off to someone else and see their ideas without kind of, being around while he's coming up with it. So he would send us stuff, and it was kind of an interesting, cool surprise or a take on a song that we didn't think of before. So, and then we went back and forth with names until we kind of compromised on what we both really liked. And so it worked out pretty well for the fact that, with Pledge, it took us, I think, a year and a half from when we started our Pledge campaign to when it was done. It took a little longer than we wanted. We wanted it to be only a year, but
it was 2 years, wasn't it?
We got some.
Panting.
Yeah, it's because of the thunderstorm.
We have a dog sitting near us in case you can hear this weird panting. There's nothing else going on. Weird panting from a dog.
Yeah, she's scared of the thunder.
Oh. But yeah, it was almost 2 years, I think, but it took to actually write the record, because we were writing some of it before even Pledge started.
Yeah.
So it wasn't it wasn't that fast of a process, but it was still much faster than when we did Lost in Psycho City.
Yeah. Anyway, let's think a bit about Opus Mar, and I want to ask, what is the story behind this? What is the meaning of Opus Mar?
Yeah, so basically we decided to theme the record around a train. Most of our crazy visual ideas come from this kind of world of Psycho City. that I've kind of invented through the years of doing our music videos. So we continued with that theme. The Opus meaning kind of like a scar or an imperfection, and opus being a body of work. We kind of thought that, a train barreling through, not stopping at any cost, kind of had that, it was like polluting as it went, kind of like society. It's just like, let's stop it for anything, and sometimes it can be on the wrong track, going really, really fast the wrong direction. And I really liked the idea of each song representing a car on the train. So a lot of our artwork that I worked closely with artist called Francesca Ludicar, we made all the meanings behind every song kind of visualized in the album art. So, and it's really kind of fun because we have done a couple videos so far with the train theme, and we're continuing that for our next music videos. But a lot of the lyrical content and kind of what the record is about is all kind of different world, social, environmental issues that have kind of fueled my fire over the last year, that have gotten my blood boiling or gotten me thinking. Yeah. And so I kind of feel like that, society sometimes, like, in their own world, like, as if you're inside a train and you don't think sometimes to look outside the windows and realize that there's, like, a bigger world out there. And that's one thing that traveling as a band is, one of the great things we get out of it is to be able to go to different places, talk with different people from all over the place, and kind of get different perspectives on the world and what's happening in the world. And I think that makes us more kind of balanced people, where sometimes we'll go to places that feel a little isolated from what's really happening outside of just their small community. And so I always think that they should be traveling out, and so that's kind of like the whole traveling and the train kind of references there.
That's interesting. And for me, I really like the song Building Castles, and if I get it right, it's about the struggles to be an artist.
Yes, for sure.
And Mike...
Technically, it's yes, the word, it is struggle to be an artist, but building castles is supposed to be the absolute opposite, which is like the strength of being an artist.
Oh, okay.
It kind of takes both situations. Just because I actually was gonna name the song "Struggle," then Matt told me, he's like, instead of ending the record on a negative, we at the end of the day, it is a struggle, but you get out, of this thing, something beautiful. And that's kind of where the title Building Castles left it more on a positive note, that everybody goes through their struggles, but at the end, there is a silver lining in it, and you are building something amazing by going through that the hard work part.
Yeah. What are for you the positive and negative things to be an independent band and artist?
There's not too much that's really negative about it. It's the only negative, to be honest, is the financial aspect, where you're running into times where you want to spend more to market the band, or you want to go to here. Like, we're trying right now to push the band a bit in Japan. Like, we'd love to go to Japan and tour Japan. Yeah. But financially, like, I can't just send us there right now, like the way a label would do, and they'd put themselves, $80,000 in the hole or something, trying to do a big tour through Japan. Like, we have to set it up properly and come up with the right plan to get us there. But that's the only negative, is the financial part. Everything else is a positive about being independent, because you're completely running your own business, and you can do it the way you want to. That would be my I guess that would be the difference about the negative and positive.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I found myself over the past, few months with so much on my plate with the record release and touring, is that sometimes as the fact that we are only 4 people with a few extra team members, is that we have to be the leaders all the time. And to remember, even though we have people that will help, we have to remember to ask for that help, and we have to remember all the different parts of the moving machine that has to happen in order for things to move forward. And sometimes if I'm not completely organized, and I'm not the most organized person, if I have to admit, will overlook things that I would think that if I had, like, you know, a label that they might be a little bit more. They might possibly, but I've also
overlooked tons of shit too.
There's also stuff that they'll overlook too. So it can never be perfect. I mean, I'm always striving for perfection, but there's always some little loophole or some little thing that I forgot to do, or thing to sign, or payment that had to be made, or something along the line when there's so much to do. But I mean, I'm pretty happy with my life, so I can't complain too much.
That's cool. I listened to the record and I recognize that there's Benji from Skinred is on your record. And can you tell us a bit about the meaning of that song and why you chose Benji for this?
How do you not?
Yeah, well, Benj and Skindred have pretty much inspired this band to even exist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge, huge fan of that band, and Matt is too. And so actually the whole reason we chose to work with James Lowry on the production mixing side was he had done the last few Skindred albums. So when we were recording Move Mountains for the first time with James, he suggested, you know, us kind of run through some of the tracks in a studio in UK at the end of our tour, because we were touring UK. And at the very beginning of that tour, I had some conversations with my PR agent, Adam, in UK, and he was saying over some drinks that he could get a hold of Benji, and if we ever wanted to do a collaboration, he could get us in touch. And I told him, yes, please get us in touch, because I'd love to work with him. He's a huge inspiration to me. And so he was able, before we got to the recording part at the end of the tour, we were not only able to get a hold of Benji, he said yes to wanting to be part of the song, got him sent the song, and he sent us a whole bunch of draft vocals before we even got in the studio with James. So it was really cool. So at the beginning of the tour, we thought, we're going to record a cool song with this new producer, and then it ended up being not only with the new producer, but with Benji too. And we didn't meet at that point. At that point, he was just sending us all the tracks over the internet.
Yeah.
But I remember listening to them in a cafe in Manchester and just freaking out, because I thought it was just so cool to hear his voice next to mine. And then we got to meet him later when we did the music video. But yeah, it was a pretty special thing, because I've always really looked up to that band. So it was quite a big accomplishment in my books.
That's definitely cool. Do you plan maybe to tour around Europe with Skindred in near future, or what are your next plans?
Yeah, well, usually we've been coming back at least, you know, once a year, if not 2 times a year, depending on how this tour schedule goes. So we're going to try to make another tour happen by the end of the year.
Before Christmas sometime, we'll probably make it out that way. I don't know what countries, but I know that we'll be hunting to go to UK again, and probably Germany and Netherlands and France. So it'll be, you know, I'd like to think by October, November, hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah. We'll definitely be announcing any firm plans on all of our social media online, and if fans want to go check us out on Facebook or Instagram, it's just Sumo Cyco, SUMOCYCO, and we have a bands in town. Our website, sumocyco.com, so they can find us about tour dates there.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for your time. You answered all my questions, and is there anything you want to share with your fans?
Yeah, well, thank you for spreading the word about our band. I just wanted to say to all the fans listening that we really appreciate all the support, and thanks for checking us out. And please go watch the videos and get the record. We worked super hard on it. We'd love to hear what you guys think and comment back. Try to message back to you.
Unless you have something bad to say, don't say anything then.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Metal-Heads TV.